Search and rescue crews are working off the Italian coast this morning after a ship carrying African migrants caught fire and sank, killing at least 94 people. Hundreds of passengers were thrown into the sea, and 159 people have been rescued so far. Now, the boat is believed to have been carrying up to 500 people, and that means around 200 are still unaccounted for at this hour. Thousands of desperate migrants from Africa arrive in Italy on unsafe, overcrowded vessels every year. Those numbers are much higher this year because of refugees from the civil war in Syria. U.S. President Barack Obama held his first meeting with congressional leaders since much of the government shut down early Tuesday. But last night's 90-minute session didn't move the two sides any closer to a resolution to end the stalemate, which is now into its third day. House Speaker John Boehner says President Obama refuses to negotiate. Senate Democrats are demanding the government be reopened without any measure attached to change his health care law.
It all is focused on Obamacare. That's all it's about. And as I've said before, and I'll tell each of you here tonight, they did the same thing to Social Security, they did the same thing to Medicare, and they're trying to do the same thing to Obamacare.
We sent 4 different proposals over to our Democrat colleagues in the Senate. They've rejected all of them. We've asked you at a conference to sit down and try to resolve our differences. They will not negotiate.
The nephew of a Surrey 6 victim has testified at the murder trial, saying he narrowly escaped the gang massacre. Zach Brown was helping his uncle, Ed Schellenberg, service fireplaces at the high-rise that day. Brown was about to work on Suite 1505, where the murders took place, but Schellenberg did after the building manager warned of suspicious activities there. 3 alleged gangsters are on trial for the murders. The Crown says they went to the building to kill Corey Lal over a drug debt. 5 other witnesses were killed, including innocent bystanders Schellenberg and Chris Mohan. The coroner's office has released its final report into actor Corey Monteith's death. The report finds Monteith injected the heroin that, combined with alcohol, contributed to his accidental death. The 31-year-old was found collapsed on the floor of his downtown Vancouver hotel room back in July. Investigators found a spoon and needle used with the heroin. There were also 2 empty champagne bottles in the room. Demolition at the Ridge Theatre on Vancouver's west side can now continue. It was feared someone had entered the site after a door was found open yesterday. It was thought many squatters may have been using it. Police and firefighters scoured the debris, even using a robot and a search dog, but nothing was found. Condos are being built on the sites of the former theatre and bowling alley. Langley RCMP have received 300 tips about a pair of sexual assaults. The purse belonging to one of the victims was dropped off at a policing office last week. Investigators would like to speak with the person who found it. The woman was attacked on a dark path near a senior center back in August, and then back in June, a 16-year-old girl was sexually assaulted at knife point. Police think the same man may be behind the attacks. A man has been arrested in connection with a shooting in Maple Ridge. He is accused of opening fire on Sunday morning at a bar on the Lougheed Highway, injuring 2 workers. The suspect and another man were allegedly bounced from the bar just minutes before. The 2 workers escaped with non-life-threatening injuries. Police have 400 pieces of jewelry stolen in so-called blessing scams. They were seized from 5 Chinese citizens at Vancouver International Airport back in July. They stole the jewelry from elderly women in Canada starting in May. The fraudsters convinced the victims their jewelry needed to be blessed, putting the pieces in a bag and swapping them for worthless items.
We'd really like to get this jewelry returned to the rightful owners. We don't want it to go to auction. That's why we're making a final appeal to any victims out there to come forward, identify their jewelry, and we can return it to them.
The victims only have 60 days to reclaim their jewelry, or else it will be auctioned off. The scammers were arrested and sentenced to 1 day in prison and sent back to China. Well, the most valuable diamond to ever be auctioned is about to go under the hammer, and this one is pink. Sotheby's is tickled pink to be offering this nearly 60-carat diamond worth a whopping $60 million US. It's dubbed the Pink Star, and the gem will go to auction at Sotheby's in Geneva next month. This is need-to-know information, of course, if you have a little extra cash floating around.